What up, y'all? We back. Welcome back to the channel. Maybe we'll try something a little bit different. Since I commute daily to work about an hour, I spend a lot of time in the car, just sitting here, and I figured I'd just get on here and just start ranting and talking about different type of stuff and posting content, just to kind of get some debates going, drive some conversation, and just to kind of see what you guys think. Because a lot of times I'm just sitting here alone in my own thoughts, so I figured prop up a camera and just get some thoughts out there. I'll probably be discussing things about my rounds, different topics. But today's topic, first topic of the Commute to Work Chronicles. I don't know, we'll figure out a different title for this series later on. But the first thing I wanted to talk about and tackle is shrinking the game. This whole topic about shrinking the game, because I've been seeing a lot of posts on Instagram, social media in general, and even recently there's been some comments in my own comment section of people saying shrink the game. I mean, I understand why people say it, and it got me to thinking, like, should we even be pushing this narrative on shrinking the game? Because me personally, I started playing golf a little over 4 years ago, so I'm still pretty fresh and new to the game, and it wasn't necessarily going around shrink the game and all this nonsense back then when I first started playing. So I was able to kind of jump into the game and really, get my feet wet without the notion of people trying to have more people not play the game or have less people play the game, so to speak. So I didn't come in with that cloud of negativity around new players entering the game of golf over my head. So I can only imagine with a lot of these newer people, and I've even talked to a lot of people that are interested in playing golf and want to get into the space, but again, there's this narrative going around, people saying shrink the game, especially people online bashing beginner golfers, especially if you have people out there shooting golf content and there's beginner golfers in front of them that are just not playing the best and things of that nature. Although we'll get into that in a second, because I do think that there is a remedy to, like, if you're a beginner golfer and you're playing really slow, you should probably spend a lot more time on the driving range before you get out on the golf course so you can keep a place to play, things of that nature. But before we get there, I just feel like there's a lot of people getting discouraged about playing the game of golf because there's this notion around here that people are bashing newer people and want to have less people into the game and have it more exclusive and kind of how it was 10, 20 years ago. But with the popularity of golf growing, there's more stuff online being talked about it. There's more celebrities and athletes playing the game. So that just opens the door up to a lot of more people that want to get into, golf and play it. And even some people that want to make content about it, as I'm doing right now. But I say all that to say, I don't think we should necessarily be pushing this narrative about shrinking the game. I think we should be encouraging a lot more people to play the game, but giving them a lane and teaching them how to play it the right way, right? So it's like when you see new golfers come into the game, instead of, posting content, making fun of people or bashing people about slow pace of play or not hitting the ball right or whatever have you, or etiquette, anything. I think that's an opportunity to kind of reach out to some of these people and teach them some etiquette, teach them some of the things that you were taught. There was at one point that everybody was a beginner. Everybody was new. Everybody didn't know what they were doing out there on the golf course or just around the game of golf, period. And you probably had people that encouraged you to play more, taught you the game, taught you etiquette, instead of always bashing you and getting on you about, poor etiquette, poor pace of play, and all this, that, and the third. So I think that could be detrimental to the game in terms of pushing a lot of the newer people away from the game. So I don't know. Like I said, there's the other side of this argument to where when people say shrink the game, I understand it, because I think what people in my comment section when they say shrink the game, I think was about a post that I posted about Sandpiper, and there were a few people that said shrink the game and blah 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 blah, because I think I had mentioned that Sandpiper was about $200 to play, and giving that the popularity has grown for the game, the fees have gotten significantly higher. Even from when I first started playing 4.5 years ago, it wasn't as expensive as it is now. So when people say shrink the game, they're just like shrink it to a point where it's like less people on the golf course, so golf courses aren't charging an arm and a leg just for these tee times, and all these tee times are getting filled up, so it's even hard to get tee times at some of the courses that people played back in the day that was really easy to get on. Now it's not so easy to get on because there's just a bevy of golfers out there, buying up tee times and things of that nature. So from that perspective, from that aspect to it, I understand the whole shrink the game mindset. But at the same time, I don't think it's a shrink the game issue. I think it's more of we have to adapt to this new wave of golf. Because continue doing the things the old way and doing things that what we've been doing in the past in terms of, having the game super exclusive to only a certain demographic of people being able to book weekend tee times a day or two before. Now it's like almost impossible to book tee times a week in advance. So you got to be kind of like on it. And it is getting a bit ridiculous, but I think it's less on the new people coming into the sport and more on the owners and people that are navigating these tee times and the golf courses and things of that nature. So for me, I think, again, a lot of these owners of golf courses are, I want to say set in their ways, but kind of set in their ways a little bit. What their way of been doing things all along has been working, so they're just kind of like keeping to that. And even their idea of adapting to this new wave of golf is increasing the monetary value of some of these tee times and filling the tee sheet to a point where you're having like 5 to 7 minutes in between tee times, which is ridiculous. Now you're trying to pack the golf course and then also trying to keep people within a 4 to 4.5 hour time frame, which is kind of ridiculous. And I think back in the day, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but the tee sheet used to have like 10 to 15 minutes between tee times. So when you get to your tee box at your scheduled tee time at a golf course, there's nobody on hole one and you can just kind of play freely. But now when you get to the golf course and your scheduled tee time, there's usually, nowadays, if you're lucky, there's only a group that's maybe in the fairway as you're about to tee off. But there's been some cases that I've shown up to tee times and there's like 2 groups sitting on a tee box waiting to tee off. And you would ask them, I was like, hey, what's your tee time? And they were like, oh, my tee time is right now. But there's a group in front of them that haven't even teed off yet. And giving that, it's like, oh, what's your tee time? My tee time's at 10:55. It's like, oh, my tee time's at 11:02 or something like that. And it's just like, why is this 7 minutes apart? So there's that aspect too, especially, when you get out in the morning and you have golfers that don't really play the game frequently and they're hitting the balls, left and right, taking multiple shots on the tee box and things of that nature that can kind of really back up pace of play. So I don't know, man. I think there's a deeper issue and a deeper thing that we need to kind of address rather than just trying to get more people or less people to play the game of golf. So instead of like kicking people out of the sport and having them not play it, we need to these owners of golf courses need to come together and figure out this tee sheet ordeal and the tee sheet pricing and cart fees and things of that nature. And at the same time, the people that have been playing the game of golf for a long time, I don't want to say has a responsibility, but they should have some type of culpability to help bring up the next generation of golfers and teaching the younger generation or the newer golfer about etiquette, about pace of play, about how to conduct things on the golf course in a certain manner. So that's my thoughts. And there's this third and final component to it, where with the growth of golf now, you have these newfound golf creators that are coming into the space, getting on the golf course, bringing cameras, recording their rounds, and that could significantly also increase pace of play, because especially people out there that are filming themselves, setting up tripods and things of that nature. Although I'm not against it, because again, I'm a golf creator myself, and I would be hypocritical if I get on here and start talking down to the people that are out there filming their golf rounds, because I do it. But the difference between me is I do it in a sense of I try my hardest to keep up with the group that I'm playing with, one, and pace of play through the entire course. So I don't film myself when I go on the golf course. I don't want to call her my fiance because I hate that word. So I'm going to say my ex-girlfriend. My ex-girlfriend, a.k.a. fiance, a.k.a. my future wife, She is, and I say ex-girlfriend because she's no longer my girlfriend now because she's my fiance, but that's neither here nor there. But she holds the camera for me when we go out to the golf course. She's always done it ever since I started playing golf. I've probably tried to go out there and record myself maybe a handful of times, 3-4 times, and I hated it. Setting up tripods, going to hit your shot, going back to hit your tripod. That can add 1 to 2 minutes per hole for your entire round. And if you're talking about 18 holes, 2 minutes, 18 holes, that can add up to like more than 30 to 40 minutes added to your golf round, right? So although I don't necessarily bash people that do it, I don't like to do it just because I hate the going back and forth, setting up the shot, making sure the shot's in frame and focus, all that good stuff, and worrying about all that and still trying to play good golf. It's damn near impossible. So kudos to the people that do it. I'm not one of those. So if I don't have Stephanie out there holding the camera for me, then I'm not recording my rounds that round. I'll wait till she's available to come out there and play with me or come out there and be with me. And lucky for me, she's always down to come out there and just kind of tag along and hold the camera. She actually enjoys it, which is a big plus and a big advantage to me and the way I can get on here and make a golf YouTube channel and have content. So I say all that to say, when I go out and play golf and I record my rounds, it's just like I'm out there playing golf. I'm not taking extra time setting up cameras because she handles all that. I've taught her how to operate the camera, how to change settings, how to get the focus, and how to, change certain things. And as we've kind of gone through the years, over the last 3 to 4 years of her doing it, she's gotten better and better, so she knows exactly what she's doing. So I don't really have to say anything to her throughout the round. Anytime that we pull up to the tee box, she always hops out first. She's taking videos of the cart signs. She's setting up. I'm usually hitting the last in the group, so I'm not in people's way and people aren't like, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible when I'm out there, so I'm not making it inconvenience for anybody. I'll give like a very short talk and preview to the round as I'm setting up. It's basically a part of my pre-shot routine at this point. But I say all that to say is that there's no extra time when I'm out there on the golf course filming my rounds because, like I said, we pull up to the tee box, she hops out first, she's getting herself ready while I'm getting my driver out or whatever club that I'm hitting for that particular shot. Same thing in the fairway. When we pull up to the fairway, I stop about 10 feet from the ball, she hops out, and I pull up right next to the ball, shooting the pin, and by the time I get ready to grab my club and take my shot, she's already hit the record button, and I'm already kind of talking as I'm doing all that and just kind of sharing information about the distance, hole, and blah, 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 blah. So for me, I'm lucky in that retrospect because I don't have to take extra time setting up for shots. And usually when I'm playing with a group of people, I'm usually the fastest out of the group, even if I'm recording. And these days, I'm not losing that many balls off the tee and I'm not taking as many re-hits as I'm getting better and better. So I pretty much can play pretty fast even when I'm out there recording. But on the flip side to that, I say all that to say, there's a flip side to it. So I know there's a lot of people that come online or even just out there on the golf course that complain about these golf creators that are out there setting up tripods, taking extra time, walking back and forth, setting up shots, setting up tripods in the fairway and driving up to their ball and then driving back and getting the tripod and all this other type of stuff. So when it comes to that, I can understand why people want to shrink the game because these quote-unquote golf creators that are out there just trying to do the most is it can feel like it's taking up a whole lot of time. But to my fellow golf creators that are doing it the right way, there's a lot of people that I know that I go out there and create their content and film their rounds and setting up the tripods and shooting their own shots that do it in a very quick and respectable way, right? So it's just about going out there, setting the tripod and record, and not like driving off and having to drive back and pick up your tripod. A lot of people that I know that go out there and create their own content aren't doing that. But the people that are doing that, I can see why it's frustrating, especially if you have a group behind you that are like seeing you do all this and just taking up more and more time. So shrinking the game in that retrospect, I get it, but at the same time, I mean, that kind of goes with the growth of the game. And if we, as the golf courses, if the golf courses are pacing their tee times in a certain time frame, like 10 to 15 minutes apart, that should be plenty of time for someone to go out there, record themselves, set up tripods, get their shots in, get their content, and still be no bother to the people that's behind them. Now, I would say for the most part, anytime that I've gone out there on the golf course and I bring the camera out, usually people are very receptive to it. They're joking about it. And I always tell people too, like if I'm playing with like 3 strangers and I'm just because I'm a solo and it's just me and my girlfriend, every time on the tee box I always tell them, like, look, we got the camera out. Hope you guys don't mind if you film more content. Usually they're like, yeah, no worries. I know like they're kind of thinking in the back of the head, as long as you don't, as long as you keep up pace of play and you're not like doing anything annoying and blah, 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 blah. So I'm never doing anything like that. So I never have a problem, even with the group that I'm playing with, or if there's people behind me. Now, if we're out there and the round is going a little slower, anytime there's people waiting for us in the back, either if I look back and I see people either waiting on the tee box or waiting for my shot, I always try to pick up the pace. So I tell Stephanie, like, look, you got to be a little faster because there's people waiting for us. So I'll talk less and I'll just go out there and just hit my shots. So there's some content that you guys see on here where I have absolutely no talking, just because there's probably a little slower, there's people behind us, and I just don't want to piss anybody off. But anytime I look back and there's nobody behind me and I don't see a physical person either waiting on the tee box or waiting in the fairway for us, that's when I'll spend a little bit more time talking to the camera, setting up shots, getting some creative angles and things of that nature. But like I said, it's all within the game of pace of play. So yeah. But yeah, man, that's my rant. I don't want this to be too long, but I know this is a pretty big topic. So let me guys know in the comment section below if I missed anything, or if you guys want to add anything to the insight. I'm always willing to learn more and more about different type of stuff, is why I'm always researching, and I want to kind of bring things here so I can learn from other people and get what they're thinking, because we all have a tendency to think that anything that we're thinking is what everybody else is thinking, and I know I don't want to be naive to think that's always the case with me. So I want to get you guys' perspective too on this. So let me know in the comment section if you guys have anything to add or share some stories that you've had and blah blah blah, and let's strike up a debate and let's see what we can come up with. So first of its kind, maybe we'll do this a lot more. Let me know in the comment section if you guys like this particular style of content, where I just come on here super raw, very little editing, and just talking to the camera and getting some thoughts out while I commute to work. So let me guys know. Again, like, subscribe, all that good stuff if you want to. You don't have to, obviously. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.